This is Open Chair. Dramatizations from rooms where people tell the truth, and nobody has to carry it alone. Tonight, my name is Laura.
Thank you for being here, everyone. Same shape as always. We listen. We do not fix. Share what is yours to share. Pass if you need to. Laura, I believe you wanted the floor tonight.
Thanks. I do. My name is Laura, and I spent last summer cleaning out my mother's house. She died in February. Heart gave out. Quick, they said. Peaceful, they said. I don't know if dying alone in a house full of things counts as peaceful, but I am working on believing it was. My mother loved books. That is the part I want you to remember. She loved books. She taught third grade for 34 years. She kept every reading journal, every thank you note from every student, every lesson plan she ever wrote. By the time she retired, the guest room was floor-to-ceiling boxes of books she was going to organize someday. By the time she died, the guest room was the hallway, and the dining room, and most of the living room, and the second bedroom, and the hall closet, which I did not open for the first 3 weeks because I was afraid of what would fall out. I was so angry at her. I need to say that out loud because I have been carrying it like a secret. Not when she was alive. I was never angry at her when she was alive. I was worried. I was sad. I made phone calls from 3 states away that went nowhere. I offered to fly in and help. She said there was nothing to help with. And I let myself believe her. Because believing her was easier than facing what I knew. But after she died, standing in that house with the heat off and the smell I could not place, and the stacks of newspapers from 2019, I was furious. Not at the stuff. At her. For leaving this for me. For choosing 34 years of thank you notes over a dining table I could eat at. For filling every surface until there was no room for me. I did not know how to grieve my mother while I was throwing away her life. The 4th week, something changed. I was going through a box of books. 3rd grade classroom library. Worn paperbacks with the spines cracked. The kind of books that have been loved by 100 small hands. And inside one of them, a copy of Charlotte's Web. There was a note. In a child's handwriting. On lined paper torn out of a spiral notebook. Dear Mrs. Thompson, thank you for teaching me to read. You are the best teacher ever. Love, Emily. My mother kept that note for 30 years. Not in a scrapbook, not in a frame. Inside a book that 100 other kids had also read. And I realized she was not hoarding books. She was holding on to every moment she had ever mattered to someone. She did not know how to let go of being needed. So she kept the evidence. The hardest thing I threw away was not a thing. It was a red armchair in the corner of the living room. The only clear seat in the house. The one spot where she sat every evening with her cup of tea and her library book. The chair was ruined. Stained. The foam had gone flat on one side. I do not think she had sat in it properly for years. She sat on the edge, leaning forward toward the TV because the cushion was too low to lean back. I carried that chair to the curb and stood over it for 10 minutes. Somebody in a pickup truck stopped and asked if I was throwing it away. I said yes. He said, "Mind if I take it?" I said, "It is not comfortable." He said, "That is okay, I can fix it." Watching him drive away with my mother's chair was the hardest I cried that whole summer. Not because the chair was special. Because I finally understood that she had spent her last years sitting on the edge of everything. Her chair, her home, her life. Never comfortable enough to lean back and rest. I did not know she was that tired. It took 4 months. 4 months of Saturdays and a storage pod I rented twice because I could not fit it in one trip. 9 donations to the library, 3 to the school district, a dumpster I filled and filled and filled. And at the end of it, the house was empty. Not clean, not fixed. Empty. I walked through every room. Kitchen where the counters had disappeared. Dining room where I had not eaten a meal in a decade. Bedroom where she slept surrounded by towers of National Geographic from 1985. And I did not feel relief. I felt like I had erased her. That is the part nobody tells you about cleaning out a hoarded home. It is not just a job. It is the final act of a life. And you are the only one who knows what you threw away. Every piece of mail was a person she loved. Every expired coupon was hope that next week would be cheaper. Every empty box was a thing she was saving for a purpose she never reached. I did not save her by clearing the house. But I showed up. I showed up. I sorted. I cried. I screamed into a pillow in the garage. I kept one box. A small one. Her reading glasses. Her favorite bookmark. That note from Emily. And I closed the door. I closed the door.
Laura, thank you for the courage it took to bring that here. Before we close, a gentle word for the room. If you are standing in a house like Laura's right now, or helping someone who is, please know that immediate danger matters. blocked exits, fire risk, medical concerns. If those are present, you do not have to carry that alone. Find qualified local help. And for the rest of us who have thrown away something that felt like goodbye, maybe the question this week is different from the others. What is one thing you kept? Not because you needed it, but because it needed you.
You've been listening to Open Chair. These stories are dramatized, but the struggle is real. People first, then the stuff.